beautiful. Episode 284, everyone.
Happy 2019. Ting.
Rasta horn.
Yeah, that was my Rasta horn. Very good.
I cannot believe it's here, finally. How do you feel? New year, new you?
Yeah. Actually, yes.
Yes.
I feel like this is going to be Sarah's year of self-care and babies.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're feeling fertile?
Super. And I had like a weird... Okay, so I was meditating the other night. And I had this like new memory pop into my head. Like I can't even call it, like I don't even know what to call it. It's just like, it's a thought, but it feels like a thought that's like been there, like too real. And before I had always thought, oh yeah, my future kid's going to be a boy. It's definitely a boy. It's definitely a boy. And then something magical happened the other night where now I'm like, oh, it's totally a girl.
Whoa, really?
It's like energy shift. So, yeah. So I'm like putting it into the universe that a little girl is going to be popping up soon. But not like anytime soon. Not for like another like 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
I got to finish that school first. But, you know.
You heard it here first. So maybe
Yes.
like your first pregnancy, maybe that was the boy.
Yeah.
You know.
That was little boy energy. And now it's little girl energy. Just switched. So.
Sarah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you are one of those people that like is super in tune with your body.
Super.
And so you feel fertile right now.
Well, I don't feel fertile right now because I'm on birth control. But, so
mentally fertile.
Yes, but mentally in a totally different baby having place.
Aww.
And like the baby would have a way better life right now.
Oh, you mean if the timing was
Yes.
before, it would have been more difficult?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
that's true for sure.
Yeah.
What if, like, okay, you're going to graduate, let's say you get pregnant, then do you think that it would ever happen where you'd be like, you know what, I'll stay home with the baby?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not, like, locked into absolutely not, I have to have a career right now and no matter what.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because once I've got that license and once I've got the letters, I mean, they don't go anywhere. They're not like, as long as I keep up on my what is it called? Continuing education units.
Yeah.
CEUs, then I'm golden. So I kind of feel like, you know.
Well, this is going to be an exciting year then.
Yeah. I have like I'm very lucky to have a profession where you can kind of control your hours and only work 3 days a week if you want to, or only in the mornings or only in the evenings or whatever. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. How about you, Suze? What's 2019 going to be like for the old Butler family? I'm a ding dong.
Well, it's definitely got to be different than 2018 because I burnt myself out.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy, and it's also, what's the point of being successful if you cannot enjoy it?
Correct.
And so things are changing. There's a new sheriff in town. Both Adam and I agree. I mean, it was sort of a necessary thing where we have a company and it grew like really fast, but we were sort of taking on all the work and not outsourcing enough. Mm-hmm. And that is not a good thing all the time. But now we're going to work on making a shift because I think a lot of people know what that feels like, especially if you're self-employed, where you're like, just keep on, you got to keep the wheels in motion or the whole thing will fall apart. That's what it feels like, mixed metaphors aside.
Yeah, and I would imagine that, you know, you guys know it better than anybody, and it must be difficult to outsource a lot of this stuff because there's like a learning process where you guys have already been through that, and now you got to teach somebody else or whatever it is. So it's like sometimes you know that good old saying, oh, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Well, yeah, but only to a certain point.
Well, and we're both fussy about like doing it a certain way. Like I don't like cutting corners and stuff. So you know, a lot of people are into that.
Right. Well, a lot of people are into it when it's not their
business. Right. Yeah. So I think that is going to be a change. And the one of the ways we're doing that is like we're planning trips. So like some of them are small and some of them are big, and it's going to be like just to have something to look forward to. Yes. You know, I think that's
really
important.
good for your mental health. Where are your trips that you have planned so far?
Well, we went to Pittsburgh for Thanksgiving, and then we went to my sister's for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Then in January, Adam gave me 2 tickets to see Billy Joel in Madison Square
That's
Garden.
what you always wanted.
Bucket list, big time.
Oh,
14th row, baby.
You're going to end up on stage. Just watch.
I wish. I mean, let's put that in the universe.
I think you will. Something's going to happen
That's
where
very
he's
nice.
going to like spot you and you're going to be like, it's me?
Our eyes will meet.
Yes.
So that's in January. Then, some other places coming up. I don't know. Fun stuff.
Suze, that's so exciting.
Thanks,
That's a good way to kick it off.
Yeah, and I wish that for other people too, because like if how there's this big debate about New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals, like what's the difference? Why do you need a new year to start a thing? But why not take advantage of like this idea of a fresh start? And
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I don't think that's the part that's the problem.
What is it?
I think it's the expectation of, like, when you say, like, a resolution, I think it's when there's not a built-in out. Like, there's not flexibility in the adherence to the goals.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's too
when
like
people
black and white.
Yes, when people feel like they can fail and still succeed, like have a setback and still succeed, then they're more inclined to achieve that goal. So you have to make failure like okay thing, and like, that's fine. You did it. You didn't do it right now, but you can still do it. Doesn't mean you. So with resolutions, it's so like hard and fast. The rule of like, I'm not going to do this. So as soon as you do that, you're like, well, I guess that's it. I did it. So now I don't have to keep trying for the rest of the year. And that's
I totally
not in line with the
agree.
goal.
Because
Yeah,
like
that's
last
it.
year, I wanted to publish 10 articles, and I think I ended up with 8. But it didn't matter because I ended up doing some other things instead, and it was flexible, as you're saying.
Yeah,
it was like,
you need flexible goals.
Yeah, it's not like the 10 wasn't important. It was the intention and the movement there. So I agree with your theory.
But if you, for example, said like, I'm going to have 2 published articles a month, and then after month number 2, you got maybe only 1, then you go, well, I guess I'm not going to try anymore because I didn't get that one, so I'm not going to try for the other, 10 months of the year or whatever. And that would be like something that our brain does that we don't even think it does, but it does that with resolutions. So.
Well, and I think I told you last time, one of my goals last year was to meditate at least 5 minutes a day, and I am so pleased that I was able to maintain that through the whole year, and I want to encourage people to try Meditation Studio, which is an app that you can use that has like a guided version. So like if it's about sleep or stress, or like I told you, like transition from work to home, like when you work at home, I mean, you really do need to have like a ritual in place. And so that's what I use. 'Cause for a while I was doing it on my own, and that's not always the best when you're stressed. Sometimes you need a little bit of guidance. So download Meditation Studio, because we have a deal where if you subscribe to Meditation Studio, you'll get unlimited access to more than 500 original guided meditations with more than 40 leading experts. And the meditations are designed to inspire you, help you face everyday challenges, from stress to sleep to boosting happiness and confidence. And maybe even your sex life, as I said before, might be the perfect time to start meditating or make it a part of your everyday life. That's what I'm all about. It's easy. Get started with the Starter Series 10-day Kickstarter program, and then check out all the other guided meditations. Head to the App Store. Get started today with a 7-day free trial. Please just try this for 7 days, Meditation Studio, just to get started.
Oh, you'll feel the effects in 7 days.
Yeah.
And for Pete's sake, this is on Apple's like best of.
Yeah.
And perfect 5 stars.
Yeah,
I think the only other people who get that is us.
Right. That's why we like them. We're in this elite group. It really is a great app. So give it a try. It's the perfect time of year to get started with that. But anyway, this all sounds very positive. I like this. Did you? Now let's switch to negativity.
Yes. God, I have something.
So go ahead. You first.
No, you start.
I just wanted to know if you read about the missionary that tried to go to the island with the uncontacted tribe.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
No, stay away. What are you doing?
This guy decided it was his calling to go to this island where this tribe is of uncontacted people live, and trained for it. And even like he brought like he had plans in place for when he got shot with arrows and stuff.
Oh my God.
For real. Like he had,
This sounds like the Indiana Jones ride. Not.
it's so misguided and so dumb and really troubling actually, because he of course got killed by these people.
Well, you know what? Social Darwinism.
That's what I was going to say, Darwin Awards.
Yeah.
Come on. They don't speak English, you jackass.
What? You know what? That's what he gets. Sorry. Whatever. I mean, it's sad he died. It's not good. But I think there's a lesson in everything.
How did he think that was going to go?
Right. And like he was going to be the next, like I think it's narcissistic intentions.
Yes.
I mean, that is so, and it's such a, I'm annoyed.
Yeah, it really bothers me because I think that the idea, let's say you are faithful and you are devout in a particular religious tradition, and part of that tradition means you believe that you have to tell other people about it and try to convert them. Okay. I mean, I'm not into that, but let's say you are.
Yeah.
Then I don't really think you need to start with the uncontacted tribe.
No, you definitely do not. There are people who are closer who are, I mean, because it's not really about that.
Well,
I really don't think. There's no way.
It was just about him.
Yes. He may not know that.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
And you could be
the heck that's
introducing disease, like just the common cold could wipe out the whole tribe.
Yes. So you're not thinking about anything and what's in the best interest. Like everything is this in the best interest of the individual? And that, yeah. He didn't
He
really
would.
unintended consequences.
I think he did though, and was like, he kept saying that he felt like he would probably die and stuff, but that it was like a noble cause.
Then he becomes a martyr.
Right.
So this is all, it's like now he gets to have the story about him. This is in no way a story about these people who found religion. This is a story about this guy.
Everybody told him, like, anthropologists and, like, even the local fishermen were like, what are you doing? Like, you are going to die. And then the fisherman came back the next day and he was, like, his body was being dragged around the island and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, well, they are protecting themselves.
Yeah, and good on them.
What's your negative news for the day?
Oh, my God. Well, it's not even negative. It's just something else that, like, I saw so many times over the holidays, and I got to a point where I was like so frustrated. I finally snapped and I said something. So let me set it up. So there's this situation that I keep running into or witnessing when I'm at places like Target or the craft store like Michael's or wherever I am. Mm-hmm. And it'll be a mom shopping with their child who's probably between the ages of like 5 and 9. And the mom will ask, and it's clear that like the mom's like me who likes to browse and likes to, find the perfect thing, but feels maybe a little bit guilty that they are spending so much time. So needs to involve the child and says like, ooh, help me pick out an ornament. We're going to go pick out, pick this out. And is trying to get the kid interested so that the kid will, not be like, oh my God, why are you spending a half an hour looking at ornaments? Come on, lady. And so the mom goes, which one do you like?
Yeah.
And then the kid says, I really like this one. And the mom's answer every single time is, no, not that one. Here's why that one doesn't work. I don't like that one. I heard it so many times, Susie. Which one do you like? And the kid goes, I like this one. And they go, no, that one's too da-da-da. You just asked the kid what they liked. You did not say. So, I mean, I heard it so much. Like, I don't know if I all of a sudden got tuned into this and then started looking for it everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean to tell you, it felt like every single time I was in the Christmas ornament section, this happened. So then I'm at, where was I? Cost Plus the other day. and we're in line, and they're all like the little lotions and everything in the aisle, like with all like the cute, the best place to get stocking stuffers, if anybody was wondering. And so this little kid who's probably like 7 years old is looking at the lotions, and he's smelling them, and he goes, I like this smell. I like this smell.
Okay.
Just stating what he likes. Mm-hmm. And the mom says, no, not that one. That's a girl smell. And I couldn't stand it any longer. I was like, you know what? I hadn't eaten. I had just had like I don't know what, I think I just came from therapy. So I was like extra edgy. So like, you know, or just raw. And I was like, you know what? I can't hold my tongue anymore. And I said, you know what? I think you can like any smell you want to like. And if you ask me, there's no such thing as a girl smell or a boy smell, but that's just what I think. And I like winked at him. Mom did not even turn around and make eye contact with me. Didn't acknowledge me. Didn't say anything.
No.
But I was so pissed. I was like, what are we doing to these children? This has consequences, people. And I was like super ragey. So there you go. That's my thing. And
I can't believe that she didn't even turn around or anything.
Didn't even turn around. And then the kid and I kept on making eye contact like the whole time. And if you ask me, the kid I think she was doing this because he, we'll say, exhibited some more feminine personality traits.
Oh, no.
And
Dang.
I was not happy about this.
What smell was it? Do you remember?
No, I asked him. It was blackberry vanilla or something.
Dang. That's so annoying. And
because then I was like, now I got to talk to, you know, because like this poor kid. And I was like, which one's your favorite? And
I'm
like,
glad you
like?
said something, but I don't think I would have had the guts. So I wonder what the right thing to do is.
I don't know. And then I like panicked on the inside. I was like, it's not my place to parent somebody else's child. I understand that in every way. And that's why I tried to add a lot of like, that's just my opinion in there. Mm-hmm. And like, that's just me, because I said, well, if you ask me, you can't, because like,
yeah.
You
and
know,
she's like,
I'm just
well, we
talking.
didn't.
Right. You know what? And I, of course, but I don't know. I'm almost feeling myself getting like worked up just thinking about it right now. It's like I am like panicking. I know it wasn't the right thing to do, and I was in a very weakened place, but I just felt so bad
I don't
for
know
that
if
kid.
it was not the right thing. And I really want to see that movie that came out called Boy Erased.
Me too. Oh my God, Suze.
It looks really good.
It looks
very
so
sad, of course, but it's about the gay conversion therapy, and it's a true story, which makes it more, you know, I want to see it even more. But I mean, it's still legal in, I think, like 30 states to do gay conversion therapy. And it's people like that woman who nothing scares her more than the idea of her son not being toxically masculine.
And the crazy thing is she totally looked like somebody who's like a vegan and
really
shops at Cost Plus World Market. I mean, come on. You're supposed to be on our team here, lady.
I didn't know that about that store.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like it's Cost Plus World Market. It's
right,
all
so they have
like
Buddha
imported
stuff
things from everywhere. Yeah. It's like the whole thing. Or maybe it's just a store full of things that are culturally appropriated. I don't know. Whichever. I love it regardless.
So when you just saw the kid for that period of time, you picked up on something that some people would call feminine.
Yes.
Yeah. Dang. That makes my heart break.
I wanted to hug. But really, I think it's just like he looks like a future intellectual.
Oh, well, I like that.
Yeah. But also one who would love a scarf.
Or a scarf. Or a Quip toothbrush to keep his teeth clean.
Very important.
I mean, oral health is for girls and boys. I know that much.
Of all genders, ages, sizes, everything.
And I mean, what better New Year's resolution than keeping those pearly whites white? Quip electric toothbrushes are really, I love them because they look so cute on my mirror. They're easy to travel with. And I do love that you can have an electric toothbrush that isn't bulky and takes up like all that space. And it has vibrations, tells you when to switch sides, tells you, you know, how long to brush. My kid uses it, loves it. And it declutters your sink because it just, like I said, it mounts to your mirror. And then the brush heads are automatically delivered to you every 3 months for just $5. So you know when it's time to refresh your freaking toothbrush and not be gross.
And Susie's favorite cleaning process.
And that's why I love Quip. It's a special experience. That's what I love, and why over 1 million happy, healthy mouths do too. Quip starts at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com/braincandy right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack for free at getquip.com/braincandy. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my story.
Yeah, I love when you rant.
Oh, God, I was so angry, but whatevs.
Yeah, you did the right thing. That's my.
You know, I was now that you say that, I was kind of thinking of that show. Like, what's that show?
What would you do?
What would you do, or something like that? Like,
that is.
I feel like that would be a scene, and I would be that person who would say would be. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, because she was sending messages to her child about him in a way that I felt hurt my heart to watch.
It just seems so insane. Like, if you even think about it for 2 minutes, the idea that a color or a smell could be...
Oh, really? Blackberry and vanilla? Let's separate those. Tell me what is feminine about a blackberry. Okay, now tell me what's feminine about the smell of vanilla cake.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
Nothing. Right.
And I mean, I've worn men's colognes.
Me too.
Like, to me, there's no difference. It depends on your chemistry, whatever works
Totally.
with you.
And it's hand lotion, for Christ's sake.
Right.
And I think
No,
it's 'cause
hand
there were
lotion.
flowers on it.
No.
Right. No, that's
I hate
gay.
everyone. Yeah, yeah, that's super gay. Have you ever seen the viral videos of like the usually I think they're like it's like a room full of young people of color, and they're like looking at a computer screen, and then they're reading whether they got accepted to like an Ivy League.
Yep.
Yeah. They're
It's so
super
great.
popular and, heartwarming and stuff. It turns out that the school that was doing that, though, is a huge fraud.
No.
Yes. And the
What
schools...
is wrong with everybody? I'm so angry.
We're starting the year off real positive.
Well, no, we're just pulling back the curtain on this phony bullshit.
So this is a school... gosh, I can't remember even where it is, but... and a lot of
this is fucking white people. What is wrong with us?
I don't think it is white people. I'm not sure, but I believe the school is run by people of color, but they were doctoring the records of the students, saying that they were accomplishing things that they weren't actually accomplishing. And obviously, as a result, a lot of them were getting into really... hard and rigorous.
Wait, okay, I'm confused at which end this is happening on. So this isn't like Harvard, and I was under the impression, which either way, it's fucked up, but
no, like
I was
the
under
principal of
impression
the
that
high
these
school.
Ivy League schools are doctoring the reaction videos.
No, what's being doctored are these kids' records so that they get into these schools, but they're not actually prepared to go to them. So then they're going to the Harvards and Yales and wherever, and then they can't handle it.
Oh, no.
And they're dropping out and quitting and having like PTSD.
Oh, no.
And then now the school is being investigated, and it turns out that they were lying about the students' performance on academic tests and sports and all sorts of things. No. Can you believe that?
No. Oh, my God.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Okay, white people, you're off the hook just this once.
I can't say for certain, but I believe that there
Probably
were
not,
3
though.
people that were sort of involved in it, and I think maybe their intentions were good, and really it benefited them as well to have a school with such high
I mean, and then
acceptance
like
rates.
part of me is like, all the, fancy kids whose parents just pay for their way into those schools, they're not any more prepared for it either. So,
well, they're probably prepared in the sense that like they know how to like skirt the system or just do
yes.
like the minimum.
That's true. Yeah.
and get
Oh
by.
my
But a lot of these
God.
kids were going, and then they would be like staying up
Yeah.
all night trying to keep up, and they like didn't know the basics, and they would even they were interviewed by the New York Times, and they'd be like, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that like everyone else just knew, offhand.
Wow.
That were
I want to know what kind of stuff that it like. What is the? Well, then they're like, we're failing these high school kids. If there's that big of a difference.
Remember that book I read, Educated, last year, and it was about the girl that was homeschooled but really wasn't even homeschooled. She was just like not educated her whole life. And then when she finally did get into school, she didn't even know what the Holocaust was. I think it's like that, but not as severe.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
What do you even do?
Well, right. And my heart breaks for the kids.
To go to college.
Yeah. And
maybe not Harvard. But
how about instead of doctoring their stuff, how about trying to give them the education that they actually deserve while they're in high school?
Put that energy towards, or giving some sort of like structure and support to ensure the child's success.
Yep. And like
whatever that may be, because it seems like we're just doing it for the video and then that's it.
When those videos are so fun and it's so exciting and you're just rooting for the kids. Everyone wants that sort of feeling, and it's heartwarming.
So they were all coming from the same school?
Yes.
Oh. And this was a school that was claiming to have like this crazy graduation rate and acceptance rate into...
Yeah, and so like despite the fact that the students
whole system set up.
Yeah, they were coming from underprivileged backgrounds, but they were excelling, and it was a success story.
Yeah.
Any other schools were coming to those principals and being like, can you teach us, can you consult us on how to get the same results at our school? It's terrible.
Oh my God, that's so depressing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
What's your position on whether...
I'm so mad at the Ivy League schools doing this, and now I'm like have mixed feelings about whether or not I even think this is like, I don't know where to put my...
Well, who are you? No, it's not the Ivy League school's fault.
Well, I know that. That's what I'm saying. Like originally, that's what I was so angry at, and now I'm like, I don't know if when the shoe's on the other foot, when it's not like the big dog who's, I feel like, okay, what's the intention? So the intention changes. Originally, I thought the intention was that there was a lot of like greed and a lot of like wanting to look like they were more accepting and inclusive to a particular population than they really were, like thinking that the Ivy Leagues were the ones who were like behind this. But then so the intention is like to make this fancy school look even better,
well,
or at least more diverse. And then I realized, that the intention behind it is either to give these kids a, successful life and let them go to a school that's amazing, or to make their school, look competitive amongst like when they wouldn't be usually.
I went out the other night with this guy who went to Harvard, and we were talking about how Harvard's been under fire lately by Asian folks who feel like they're being discriminated against because if Harvard sort of didn't do like a version of affirmative action, then the percentages of each group would be different than they are. So like there would be a lot more Asians that would get in than do. And so some Asians are suing and angry about this admission process. And then this one guy that was on Harvard's side who was Asian, then you can look at your application when you get into Harvard and read what people that were deciding whether you get in said about you. And they wrote about, because you're interviewed by an alumni before you get in. Yeah. Wow. And he was interviewed by an alumni, and the alumni wrote like, he's Asian, but he's the good kind of Asian, meaning like...
Okay.
And so then the guy turned on Harvard and was like furious about it.
Dude.
But it's really complicated because, we think of the Asian population as being a minority, but it's a different situation than people of color in this country. So it's a really complicated and tricky of how you deal with that at that level.
Yeah, it's all complicated. Oh,
I'm glad I'm not involved.
Oh, me too.
What is your position on how people call food crack?
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Have you ever eaten something and been like, this is like crack?
No.
Really?
Really.
Why?
The only time I've ever used like that kind of expression is when I refer to what happens to me when I drink an energy drink. And I say, I've never done methamphetamines, but I think that this is what would happen to me if I did, because I am like a crazy person. And that's the only time I use anything like kind of close to that.
Right.
Because I'm like, can't sit still. And oh my gosh, what's this over here? I got to look at this. Oh my gosh, what's happening over here? And like,
well,
it's not good.
I'll tell you,
my heart's going to explode.
I'll tell you what some people think of it after I encourage people to do something for if they don't get all their vitamins in their food, which is all of us pretty much, and that means taking ritual vitamins. I love these vitamins. They taste like mint, and the prenatal ones that they have now, they taste like, I saw that they have them in like, what's the flavor? Lemon, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice and soothing on the tummy.
Yeah, or maybe it's ginger. Whatever it is, it's something that, is not gross like most vitamins. And a lot of us don't get enough vitamins from our diets. And so this is a great way to fill in the gaps. Or if you are trying to get pregnant or pregnant, then you should get the essential prenatal, which gets you those nutrients that you need for a baby. And for me, it's been a game changer because they don't make me feel nauseous. They don't leave that gross taste in my mouth. And they're delivered right to your door and come right when you need them. When you run out, there's the new bottle. Better health doesn't happen overnight. Start your year with Essential for Women. It's a small step that helps create a healthy foundation for 2019 and beyond. Visit ritual.com/braincandy to start your ritual today. That's ritual.com/braincandy. And if you are eating food that like you should be, then you probably shouldn't call it crack, as I was saying, because somebody wrote an article for Grub Street that was saying, I didn't know this, but apparently at some restaurants they're naming foods like potato crack or like chocolate
God,
crack.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
oh my God.
To me,
that's
that
gross.
It's super appetizing and you can't stop eating it. But the article argues that it's like racist and classist and
super.
Yeah, and I never thought about it.
I totally agree with that.
So you had a sense for this before I even mentioned it.
Yeah, that I don't like that it feels uncomfortable to use it. And even when I describe how I need to have a whole explanation of the scenario and when and how, because I don't like that. And I don't like any time somebody is very, oh man, and this is kind of like, this is just because this is the world that I live in. And I don't like any time somebody says like, oh my God, I'm so ADD, or oh my gosh, I have OCD, or oh my gosh, that is like crack, because it's very like dismissive of these things that are really serious for people. That it's the same as like, I don't know, I put in the same category as if you were like, you wouldn't say that about like cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with you. It does like minimize the severity.
Minimizes it.
Yeah.
I think that's the word I'm looking for. Because like, then if somebody really does have something that has to do with that, like, or I don't know. I don't know. That's how I feel. Like, just, it's insensitive.
It's insensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then,
and should we be sensitive all the time? This is like that thing. It's like,
well, no, my policy. If it's funny, I approve. But very
that's
rarely.
Not funny.
Yeah, I've never actually heard someone say, "Oh, I have OCD" as a joke and have that be funny. It's
never,
funny.
ever. And same with, oh my God, these potato chips taste like crack. And the only way I can think of that is in Kim Kardashian accent.
Yeah, it's never going to be like, wow, what a great joke you just told.
Right.
It's lazy.
It's super lazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, it wasn't something that bothered me before I read this. I never thought about it. But I was like, yeah, I guess that is stupid. Especially if it's on menus. My God.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I think one restaurant had something called some kind of dessert that was like chocolate crack something, and they changed it to cracked to be like to describe it, the nuts in it or something. So then it was like a little better, but I guess people are like, you know what, you probably shouldn't call it that. There's other names. Use
Like
a
you wouldn't
thesaurus.
if you brought out one of those big gigantic, fruity drinks, you wouldn't call it Alcoholic's Delight. Right? People would be like,
okay,
that's weird.
Counterpoint, though.
Okay.
I could imagine, because crack, even though that crack is a real thing, like it's a form of cocaine or whatever, it's kind of like the word moonshine, where it's a real thing, but it's more like slang.
Yeah.
So I could see them calling it moonshine something or whatever.
Okay. I can see that.
I wouldn't do it, but...
You'd call like alcohol moonshine something. You wouldn't call, so it like would have to. You're in essence it.
Yeah, that's true.
It has like components of whatever that original thing was, and there's nothing about my chocolate cake that has anything component of crack in it.
Yeah, you'd never call it like hot chocolate moonshine unless there was actually alcohol in it.
Right. So
Good
it means
point.
that there's a relation to alcohol. So there's like some relation where you're saying like chocolate in a way, and also I don't want to feel the same sort of guilt for eating my chocolate cake as I would for doing
crack,
illicit drugs.
Right, I know. That's a good point.
Or maybe is that like, ooh, I'm so dangerous. I'm doing something sinful.
That is a fascinating conversation. We used to talk about that a lot in religious studies, because oftentimes the way people talk about food relates to morality and shame and sinfulness and things like that. And I noticed that even with my mom, because my mom doesn't drink. And so sometimes she'll even say like, why do you drink wine? I don't get it. And I'm like, well, why do people have a piece of chocolate cake? It's enjoyable. Yeah. It does something to your brain. Mm-hmm. It makes life better than when you don't. And as long as that's the case, if it's improving your life versus negatively affecting your life, then I say carry on.
And isn't it interesting that there's something in us that enjoys talking about it in a way where we're like being naughty? Like, oh my gosh, isn't it bad? I'm going to have this extra piece of cake. Or like, it's super naughty. And like, or, oh, that's like sinful, whatever. Like, there's a part of us that kind of likes that part.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
That's 100% of the time I'm with my mom. She'll talk about eating like, oh my gosh, I'm cheating today, or I'm being naughty today.
Yeah, my mom did it too. Like, I'm going to be bad. Ooh, let's be bad and get the French fries.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what's that about?
It's not good, and I never hear men doing it.
Oh,
they're not like, I'm being naughty today.
And I remember back to a women's studies class I was in where we discussed how they do that with the things that we are supposed to be enjoying. So like women, they've set it up so like the commercial will be for Dove chocolate, and it'll look like the woman finally gets time for herself.
Yes,
so she's taking care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
But in taking care of herself, they're using language that makes her feel like she's being indulgent and being sinful. And so you send the message that you should be doing it, but you should feel bad about it.
Right.
And that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's super gendered and gross.
You just have to be aware that it's going on and like and fight that, because I think a lot of women do feel guilty for taking time for themselves, and you absolutely freaking shouldn't.
Well,
this is what your whole thing was about.
And that language, it's like it kind of makes things worse. Instead of it just being like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this cookie and it's going to be really nice and make my life better, then it becomes about like something you should feel bad about, but you want it anyway, and then you end up doing it more, I think.
Yeah, and there's got to be some link. There's got to be some brain chemistry thing in that where if we say that it's bad and then we have it, we get more dopamine because we feel like we're doing something we're not supposed to be, which reinforces us to buy whatever it is. So there's like a definite like some sales psychology.
Do you I'm sure you do, but what's reason that our brain would reward us for sinful behavior. That seems like counterintuitive to me. But you're right, it does.
We definitely discussed this in class too. Oh my gosh, I've had this conversation. I will. I'll find out if I can find an article that talks about that. Why we are rewarded.
Yeah, because it seems like counter-evolutionary.
Yeah. For sinful behavior.
Because it is fun.
Interesting. There's got to be something about feeling like we're getting away with something that other people aren't, so therefore have some like leg up on.
Oh, yeah, competition.
Yeah, something like that maybe.
Do you want to hear about 9 things that were invented that didn't need to ever be improved upon?
Yes. Oh, I love these kind of things.
I'll put this in the newsletter too. It's because I don't know if we'll get to all 9, but it's so cute. So the first one is, we should probably, what would you put in there? The other day I was thinking I would put in, you know how like some people have electric can openers?
Oh,
I hate
that's
them.
True.
And I
that's
have a
dumb.
manual one. And I thought this was fine. Nobody needed to improve this item.
I would agree with that.
So,
okay. I'm going to have to take a think on that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you some.
That's a really good question, but I definitely will be able to come up with multiple answers within the next week.
The first one they have listed is the almighty toilet. Where...
Well, this is how I felt about urinals. Unnecessary.
Right. There wasn't anything wrong with the toilet. You're right. They were, they've added some things like there are bells and whistles you can get now, but I mean, the essence of the toilet is pretty much stay the same the whole time.
I compare that to like Thailand where they just have the hole where you can just put your feet down and squat.
Yeah.
So I think from the original design, we've done some pretty good improvement.
All right. I guess that's fair. But I mean, once you added plumbing, it's been pretty much the same.
Yeah. The seat, the tank, the whole thing. Yeah.
The next one, scissors. For 4,000 years, it says they look basically the same as 4,000 years ago, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Like when they find them.
Those.
Yeah, when archaeologists find them, they look pretty much the same.
Wow.
That's
okay,
fun.
then I'm going to say fork.
Oh, that's a good one.
We're good with that.
That reminds me of the bit Jerry Seinfeld does about chopsticks. He's like, they've seen the fork. Why are they still doing with the chopsticks?
But hey, no, they're right with chopsticks.
Yeah?
Yes, because you take smaller bites of food, and so you don't get full as fast. You're more mindful when you eat, and there's something about like somebody from a like collectivist culture or like a Western or Eastern culture will chew. I think it's like 28 times per bite, whereas in the United States it's like 5 to 7 times.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's why we're all using our toilets.
Right. There you go. Good point. Full circle.
Well, so I guess Sarah's just changed her answer from fork to chopsticks.
Yes, chopstick. Don't change them. They're They're good. Okay,
the next one they have is the mouse trap.
Oh.
Which is
which kind?
Oh, what do you mean? The wooden one with the
sticky
metal.
paper or the one with the...
It says the basic mouse trap, which is the spring-loaded. Yeah. It was invented in 1898, and it does the job, and it's like super effective at killing them immediately, which is, very humane.
Yeah.
I mean, not very humane. They still die.
Right. But,
But if you're going to kill a mouse, it's good to do it instantly. Okay, the next one is the... barbed wire.
Oh, okay.
Good one. I mean, you do still see that at prison and
basic,
stuff. Effective.
Classic. Effective.
Classic.
Also, a tattoo for a phase.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Thanks, Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, Pam.
What don't you think though? Even when I look at those ones that they put on top of the prison, where it's like razors, essentially.
Yeah.
I always think I feel like I could get past that.
I think it's one of those things where you think you can, but something gets stuck. How have you hopped over fences often in your life?
Probably more than most people because of the challenge, right?
Yeah. Well, I have myself, and because like I'm often a person who forgets their keys or like has to got locked out of their house or was out past curfew and has to sneak in, and I have ripped many a pant leg or jacket jumping over a fence without barbed wire.
True.
Yes.
Well, and it says that it really is effective with farm animals, and that's the main purpose.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, prevent
farm
horses.
Animals and Sarah.
What else have they listed here? The doorknob.
And also they use it for birds to not sit on top of things.
Yeah, that's true.
Take poops all over the place.
Yeah.
Doorknobs, huh?
Mm-hmm. It was invented surprisingly late. Let's see when. Oh, 1878. Yeah, it seems like that would have been around longer.
What? A doorknob was invented in Wow.
What were they doing before?
Suze, you need to do a deep dive into the history of doors because what the hell were we using? Okay, so a doorknob. So that means okay.
Oh, they were doing the sliding ones, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. So they had the bolt and they had that. It was just the turning mechanism. Okay, fair enough. I was like, was it an open door policy until then?
Right, good point. Well, but once it was created, we were like, okay, we're good with that.
Yeah, that's good. Ooh, this is a real fun one. I like this.
Okay.
It gets me thinking of like other things.
Yeah, that's why, because I had read the article, and then when I used my can opener, I was like, yeah, this should be on the list more or less. It says, nobody is quite sure who invented the plunger, but they did a great job because it really hasn't changed.
And you don't need it to do anything. Like, that's it. It's simple.
Yeah. And it was invented in 1932. It says
that's also I guess first has to come plumbing. So there's an order of operations to this. This author maybe had to go to the bathroom while he was writing this article.
Although it says nobody's quite sure who made the plunger because nobody ever took credit for it. You
That's
would
funny.
Though. You would be like, I made that.
Absolutely. Taking credit for anything you want to give me credit for.
They say
that's good and awesome.
The paper clip invented in 1899.
Remember we asked this question, which came first, the Swiss Army knife or the paper clip?
Oh, yeah.
And the answer is the Swiss Army knife.
Which is insane.
Insane. And I shared that in a group, and they did not think it was that interesting.
What?
They were like, thanks. What do I do with that information?
You know, it is always shocking to me when people don't find us fascinating.
Right. What the heck? So,
I think this was the last one. It's eyeglasses.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, Ben Franklin. No, I guess those are bifocals.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, my God. They were invented in 1290 in Italy.
What? Whoa.
That is crazy.
Well, what that shows is that there was people were in desperate need.
Yeah, that's
true. Eyes were bad. Like, when there's a need, then you invent the thing that matches the need.
Still, that's amazing to me that they understood the concept of how the eyeball worked.
Oh, my God. Good fucking point, Susie.
Because that's essentially what the lenses are doing, is pretending to be your eyeball.
So do you think they understood what the eyeball did, or do you think it was something where they just looked through different things and it wasn't necessarily knowing what the eyeball did, but they thought that maybe the glass or the whatever they looked through, because I would imagine that they created some sort of glass that then magnified. They saw something underneath and they're like, oh, that's bigger. So maybe if we create different depths of this, different widths or thicknesses of this, it would change how we see through it. And then they developed the item not with the understanding of how the eye works. But that's just,
I think you're onto something, though,
being
because
observant.
No, yeah, I think that you must be onto something. It was more of like magnification, because how could they know how the eyeball worked? But then it says for hundreds of years, glasses were meant to be held up by hand or tied around their head. Like, they didn't even think to add the arms until like hundreds of years later.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was like to magnify something, to like make it. Yeah, I bet it was that started.
Oh, and then
because my guess was going to be the mirror too.
That is a great answer.
Because we really, once you just figure out something that's reflective, that's like the exact image.
You
which,
are so
man, that
right.
must have been hard to do. Because who's the first person who's like, yeah, that's exactly what you look like. You don't really know when you look at, I don't know, it's weird.
I did read about it, though. I read, because it was saying how, like, you know, what people saw themselves in a water reflection, but it took a long time before they figured out how to do, like, the poured metal type situation.
Yeah.
And
where it was like a smooth, like a perfect image, you know, without like the...
Good
Weird.
addition to this list. We should write to them and tell them to add that.
Yes. Wait, so did you separate from this research mirrors?
Yeah, I had read something else about mirrors. Yeah.
This is why we have a podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Susie has too much time on her hands, evidently.
And Sarah
can talk about anything.
Will be able to talk about anything.
I always say that because I don't know anyone else who is so adept at being able to go with the flow of a conversation as you.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, I was thinking about this the other... Well, no, I don't even mean to... I was thinking about something close to that, about how people just relate in metaphors and how the whole thing about, like... I heard that the difference between people and animals is the ability to create metaphors.
Oh, my God.
Because you can't say it's language. Like, what's the difference between a person and an animal? And you can't say it's sense of self because we know animals have that too.
Wait, were we the one having this conversation? Because it's ringing a bell.
I had it in class, and then we've definitely talked about it. I had it in class years ago, but we've talked about this here and there on the podcast before.
I think that my brain doesn't absorb it because I'm, like, not okay with that being the only difference.
I mean, that's just what this one... researcher, or like that's like a theory. It's not like hard and fast. That's it. Obviously,
well, right. And like
some people would say it's the what do they call it?
It's like abstract
prefrontal cortex, or like it's like our limbic system or something like that.
But maybe that's the kind of output
that can create metaphors. And so I was thinking that like I was a child who really like everything was a metaphor. I was like, this looks like this, which looks like this, which like I don't know what did that to me, but I like created a lot of that. And I think that just like everything reminds me of everything else, which is really just one big metaphor.
I think that is a gift though. And you're so lucky because I think many people struggle with conversation and they want to be more social and like be able to talk to people, but their brain doesn't make those connections that fast or even ever maybe. And so they can't do what you do so naturally.
Oh, well, thank you. Because sometimes it's like one of those things where it's like a gift and a curse.
Right.
Or it's also like I can't turn off. Like last night, oh my God, I was laying in my bed for so long because it just is like, this reminds me of this, reminds me of this. And I'm like, quiet. I really need to use that meditation app.
Yeah, right. Wait, there's one more on this list, I think. It says violin. Violin was invented in the 16th century in Italy. By the way, I read separately about violin that it was an instrument that was designed to sound like the human voice.
What?
Like it was meant to sound like, and it kind of does, although it also sounds like cats screaming if you play poorly.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the last
How's your banjo playing?
It's fun, and I love it.
You doing that frequently?
I try to, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, I like to get it out, but I'm not good.
Can the banjo and the ukulele play together?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Are you getting one?
I think I might try to learn that.
Yeah, I see Camilla playing her ukulele a lot, and it's really cute. It's way more travelable than a banjo.
I met a 5-year-old who could play pretty well, and I was like, I think I could do what he can do. He's 5.
The ukulele or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm
not very musical, so I thought maybe I'd ask Susie, who is very musical.
Oh, that's nice.
What the thing is, what the deal is with that.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean,
with the violin, huh?
But I'm not improving. That's the thing.
You're not, well.
I don't practice enough to get better. I just tinker.
But you know how to play songs and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a really hard instrument. Like, your fingers have to move fast.
Well, and if you don't practice enough, then you don't develop the calluses, which actually are helpful because it's painful otherwise every time. Because
even if you get what about those little metal picks on the ends?
Yeah, because
is that for a different
that's
noise?
on your no, those are on your right hand, and you do use those. But on your left hand, where you make the chords up top on the thing, then they hurt.
I go into like a panic thinking about having to move my fingers that fast and remember the next.
Yeah,
my ability to be quick and come up with things fast in conversation does not translate the same in finger movement.
Okay, but have you ever had one of those moments where, let's say you are trying to make a particular pattern with even clapping or something, and then you get it right, and it's almost like you're not even trying anymore; it just happens.
I know what you mean by that. It almost becomes like that becomes like your
if you can get it,
the
it's
way
like
you move.
ecstasy.
Yeah. You know, this is going to be really weird, but it's the only thing I can relate to that, but it's going to sound like a really weird one. You know the game Bop It?
Yes, it's like that.
I can get into a Bop It zone where I used to be able to go for like a half an hour.
Yeah. Same
and
thing.
whatever the instructions, because my mind would just go into a place where it's kind of like being open to suggestion with that game, really.
Sarah, it's literally the same thing. It is a rhythm that you start to just do without thinking.
Wow.
And sometimes if you think, it ruins it.
Right, because I'm thinking like that's what with Bop It. You just have to like get your brain into like zone out. It's being in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. What brainwave is that? This is cool. This has been an excellent episode.
It really has. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and, subscribe and tell us how much you love us.
Tell some friends.
Yeah.
They can listen too. Then if you don't know what to talk about, you can just talk about what we talk about all together. Agree or disagree.
Amen to that. And Happy New Year, everybody.